I, 32M, never imagined I'd be sharing this story, but here I am, still reeling from the events of the past few weeks. My life has been turned upside down, and I need to get this off my chest. To give you some context, I grew up in a small town in the Midwest. My parents, both teachers, instilled in me the values of hard work, honesty, and the importance of community. I was always the quiet, studious type, more comfortable with computers than people. This led me to pursue a degree in computer science, and eventually, I started my own IT consulting business. I met Olivia, 30F, 5 years ago at a local charity event. I was there helping set up the computer systems for a silent auction, and she was one of the event organizers. Olivia was everything I wasn't: vibrant, outgoing, and with a smile that could light up a room. She had this way of making everyone feel special, including awkward IT guys like me. Despite our differences, or perhaps because of them, we hit it off immediately. Olivia told me later that she was drawn to my quiet confidence and dry sense of humor. For my part, I was captivated by her energy and warmth. We started dating, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I had found someone who truly understood and accepted me. Our relationship progressed quickly. Within a year, we had moved in together, and a year after that, I proposed. The proposal was a disaster. I had planned an elaborate setup at the same charity event where we met, but the computer system crashed right as I was about to put my proposal message on the big screen. In the end, I blurted out my proposal in front of everyone while trying to fix the system. Olivia found it hilarious and endearing, and to my relief, she said yes. We got married 2 years later in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by our friends and family. It was a perfect day, and I remember thinking how lucky I was to have found someone like Olivia. We complemented each other so well. Her outgoing nature helped me come out of my shell, while my steadiness provided a grounding influence for her. For the first 3 years of our marriage, everything seemed perfect. We rarely argued, enjoyed each other's company, and had similar goals for our future. Olivia continued to work in event planning, eventually becoming a marketing executive for a large corporation. My IT consulting business was growing steadily, and we were comfortable financially. We lived in a cozy house in the same tight-knit community where I grew up. Everyone knew everyone, which had its pros and cons. On one hand, there was always someone willing to lend a helping hand. On the other, privacy was hard to come by, and gossip spread faster than a computer virus. Olivia was always more outgoing than me. She loved socializing and going out with her friends, while I preferred quiet nights at home tinkering with new software or playing video games. I never had a problem with this difference. I trusted her completely and was glad she had her own interests and social circle. We had both been hurt in previous relationships. My college girlfriend had cheated on me with my then best friend, and it took me years to fully trust someone again. Olivia had been in a long-term relationship that ended when she discovered her boyfriend had been lying about his financial situation and had racked up significant debt in her name. Because of these experiences, we had promised each other that we would never cheat or do anything to jeopardize our marriage. About 6 months ago, I started noticing small changes in Olivia's behavior. She was spending more time on her phone, often smiling at text messages. When I asked her about it, she brushed it off, saying it was just work stuff. She also started going out more frequently with her friends, sometimes not returning until the early hours of the morning. I tried to push my doubts aside, telling myself that I was being paranoid. After all, Olivia had always been honest with me, and I had no reason to distrust her. But a nagging feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. I started noticing other small things. She was more protective of her phone, changed her passwords, and seemed less interested in our usual date nights. One evening, I decided to surprise Olivia at her office with dinner. When I arrived, her assistant told me she had left early for a client meeting. I thought it was odd, as Olivia usually told me about important client meetings. I called her, and she sounded flustered, saying she was stuck in traffic and would be home late. I could hear music and laughter in the background, which didn't sound like any client meeting I could imagine. Still, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I told myself that there could be a reasonable explanation, that I was letting my past experiences cloud my judgment. I decided to trust Olivia and give her the benefit of the doubt. Last week, everything came crashing down. Olivia told me she was going out for dinner with her girlfriends at a new restaurant in town. I dropped her off at the restaurant around 7 p.m., planning to pick her up later. Around 10 p.m., I received a call from my friend Mark, 35M, who manages a popular hotel in our town. Mark and I go way back. We've been friends since high school. He was the one who encouraged me to start my own business and even became one of my first clients. His voice was tense as he said, "Hey man, you need to come to the hotel right now. It's about Olivia." My heart sank, but I tried to remain calm. I told Mark there must be some mistake, as Olivia was supposed to be at the restaurant with her friends. He insisted that I come to the hotel immediately. The drive to the hotel felt like the longest 20 minutes of my life. My mind was racing with possibilities, but nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to discover. I kept telling myself that there had to be a rational explanation, that Olivia wouldn't betray me like this. When I arrived at the hotel, I found Mark waiting for me in the lobby with a grim expression. He looked uncomfortable and apologetic, which only increased my anxiety. He led me to a room where I saw Olivia sitting on a chair, her makeup smeared and her eyes red from crying. Next to her was a young man I didn't recognize, who I later learned was Brian, 26M, an employee at the hotel. Mark explained that he had caught Olivia and Brian in a compromising position in one of the hotel rooms. Apparently, this wasn't the first time. They had been meeting at the hotel for several weeks. Brian had been giving Olivia free rooms in exchange for their encounters. I felt like the ground had opened up beneath me. All the air seemed to leave my lungs, and for a moment, I couldn't speak. Olivia burst into tears, begging me to listen to her, claiming she was being framed. But the evidence was overwhelming. Brian, probably realizing the gravity of the situation, confessed to their affair. In that moment, all the love I had for Olivia turned to ash. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and utterly destroyed. The woman I had trusted completely, who I had built my life around, had been lying to me for weeks, maybe even months. Every late night, every work event, every text message, it all suddenly took on a sinister new meaning. Without saying a word to her, I turned to Mark and told him to press charges for trespassing and misuse of hotel property. I couldn't bear to look at Olivia. Her pleas fell on deaf ears as I watched the police arrive and escort her and Brian away. The sight of my wife being led away in handcuffs was surreal, like something out of a bad movie. In a moment of anger and hurt, I did something I'm not proud of. I took out my phone and started live streaming the arrest on our town's Facebook group. I wanted everyone to know what kind of person Olivia really was. I wanted to hurt her the way she had hurt me. Within minutes, the news had spread like wildfire through our small community. The aftermath was chaos. Olivia's parents bailed her out of jail, but by then, the damage was done. Her reputation was in tatters, and even her closest friends distanced themselves from her. She tried to come home, begging for forgiveness and a second chance, but I couldn't even look at her. I packed her things and left them on the porch, changing the locks on our house. It's been a week since that night, and I'm still trying to process everything. I've filed for divorce and gone no contact with Olivia. Her family and some mutual friends have tried to reach out, urging me to reconsider, but my mind is made up. The trust is broken beyond repair. I know I should probably feel guilty about exposing her so publicly, but right now, all I feel is a mix of anger and numbness. I trusted her completely, and she threw it all away for some cheap thrills with a hotel employee. Every happy memory we shared now feels tainted, like it was all built on a lie. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know one thing for certain: I deserve better than this. I'm focusing on myself now, throwing myself into work and trying to rebuild my life. It's not easy, but I'm taking it one day at a time. If you've made it this far, thank you for reading. I guess I just needed to get this off my chest. Any advice on how to move forward would be appreciated. How do you trust again after something like this? Update 1: It's been a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. First, I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. It's been a challenging time, but your words have given me strength and perspective. The divorce proceedings are underway, and it's been a messy process. Olivia initially tried to contest the divorce, claiming that her infidelity was a one-time mistake and that we could work things out. She sent numerous emails and text messages, alternating between begging for forgiveness and accusing me of overreacting. It was emotionally draining to say the least. However, her tune changed when her lawyer advised her that contesting would only drag out the inevitable and potentially cost her more in the long run. I suspect the evidence I had, thanks to Mark's intervention, played a significant role in this decision. One unexpected development came when Brian, the hotel employee, reached out to me through a mutual acquaintance. He wanted to meet and talk. Against my better judgment and the advice of my friends, I agreed to hear him out. I was curious about what he had to say, and part of me hoped it might provide some closure. We met at a neutral location, a coffee shop in the next town over, to avoid prying eyes. Brian looked nervous and uncomfortable, which was understandable given the circumstances. What he revealed during our conversation left me reeling. Brian claimed that Olivia had been unfaithful not just with him, but with several other men over the past year. According to him, Olivia had a pattern of targeting younger men in service industry jobs, using her charm and status to manipulate them. He showed me text messages and photos that corroborated his story, including conversations with other men who had been involved with Olivia. I was stunned. The Olivia I thought I knew was a complete facade. The woman I had loved and trusted had been living a double life right under my nose. Brian explained that he had genuinely believed Olivia was separated and in the process of divorcing me. When he discovered the truth, he felt guilty and decided to come clean. While I appreciate Brian's honesty, it doesn't change the fact that he participated in destroying my marriage. However, his information has been invaluable in the divorce proceedings. With this evidence, my lawyer is confident that we can push for a more favorable settlement. The fallout in our community continues. Many people have reached out to offer their support, sharing their own stories of betrayal and healing. It's been comforting to know I'm not alone in this experience. However, there are also those who think I went too far by exposing Olivia publicly. Some have accused me of ruining her life and career, arguing that what happens in a marriage should stay private. While I understand their perspective, I can't bring myself to feel guilty. She made her choices, and now she has to live with the consequences. Perhaps it wasn't the most mature way to handle the situation, but in that moment of pain and betrayal, it felt like the only way to reclaim some control over my life. Olivia's attempts to reconcile have become more desperate. She's shown up at my workplace, sent countless messages through friends, and even tried to get her parents to intervene. Her parents, who I've always had a good relationship with, are torn. They're disappointed in Olivia's actions but also want to see their daughter happy. I've had to be firm with them, explaining that while I value our relationship, I can't continue to be part of their family. I've remained firm in my decision to cut all contact with Olivia. Each interaction only reinforces my belief that I'm making the right choice by ending this marriage. It's hard, especially on the days when I remember the good times we shared, but I keep reminding myself of the extent of her betrayal. On a personal level, I've started seeing a therapist to help me process everything. It's been helpful to have a neutral party to talk to, someone who can provide perspective and coping strategies. We've been working on addressing my trust issues and developing healthier ways to deal with my emotions. I've also been focusing on rebuilding my social life, reconnecting with old friends I had neglected during my marriage. It's been eye-opening to realize how much of myself I had lost in my relationship with Olivia. I'm rediscovering old hobbies and interests, and it feels good to be myself again. Work has been a welcome distraction. I've thrown myself into new projects, and my business is actually thriving. It seems that adversity has fueled my drive to succeed. I've landed several new clients and am even considering expanding my team. As for Olivia, I've heard through the grapevine that she's lost her job and is struggling to find new employment in our town. Part of me feels a twinge of sadness for her, but then I remember the extent of her betrayal, and that feeling quickly fades. Actions have consequences, and she's learning that the hard way. I'm taking things day by day, focusing on healing and moving forward. Some days are better than others. There are still moments when I'm overwhelmed by anger or sadness, but they're becoming less frequent. The road ahead is still long, but for the first time since this all began, I'm starting to feel hopeful about the future. Thank you all again for your support and advice. It means more than you know. Update 2: It's been 3 months since my last update, and 6 months since my world was turned upside down. I'm happy to report that things are looking up, though the journey hasn't been without its challenges. The divorce is finally settled. Thanks to the evidence provided by Brian and a few other men who came forward, we were able to negotiate a settlement heavily in my favor. Olivia didn't contest it, likely realizing that fighting would only expose more of her indiscretions. It's a relief to have the legal aspect behind me, although emotionally, I'm still processing everything. One surprising development has been my budding friendship with Mark, the hotel manager who initially alerted me to Olivia's infidelity. We've started hanging out regularly, and he's become a pillar of support during this difficult time. It turns out we have a lot in common beyond our shared history. We both love hiking and have started exploring local trails together on weekends. Mark recently confided in me that he had suspicions about Olivia long before the night he caught her. Apparently, he had noticed her frequenting the hotel with different men over the past year but couldn't prove anything concrete. He felt guilty for not saying something sooner, but I assured him that I don't hold it against him. If anything, I'm grateful that he had the courage to tell me when he did have proof. On the work front, my business has been thriving. The extra time and energy I've been able to devote to it have paid off, and I've landed several big contracts. I've even hired 2 new employees to help manage the workload. It feels good to be throwing myself into something positive and seeing results. The success has been a much needed boost to my self-esteem. I've also started dipping my toes back into the dating pool. Nothing serious yet, just a few casual coffee dates arranged through friends. It's been both exciting and terrifying. Part of me still feels broken from Olivia's betrayal, but I'm slowly learning to trust again. My therapist has been helping me navigate these new waters, reminding me that it's okay to take things slow and set boundaries. As for Olivia, I've heard through mutual acquaintances that she's moved to a city about 3 hours away. Apparently, she couldn't handle the fallout from her actions in our small town. Last I heard, she was working as a bartender and living with her sister. It's a far cry from her former executive position, but I can't say I feel much sympathy. She made her choices, and now she's living with the consequences. One unexpected outcome of this whole ordeal has been the strengthening of my relationship with my family. My parents and siblings have been incredibly supportive, often dropping by with home-cooked meals or just to check in on me. We were always close, but this experience has brought us even closer. My mom, in particular, has been a rock. She's always been a good listener, but now she's become my confidant, offering wisdom from her own experiences and reminding me of my worth when I'm feeling low. I've also reconnected with some old friends who I had lost touch with during my marriage. It's been a silver lining to rediscover these relationships and remember who I was before Olivia came into my life. Last weekend, my high school buddies and I got together for a camping trip, something we used to do annually but had fallen by the wayside in recent years. It felt good to laugh and joke around like old times, to remember that there's still joy to be found in life. There are still moments when the pain and anger resurface. Certain songs, places, or even smells can trigger memories of our life together. The other day, I walked past the restaurant where I proposed to Olivia, and it felt like a punch to the gut. But these moments are becoming less frequent and less intense. I'm learning to let go and focus on the future rather than dwelling on the past. Looking back, I realized that exposing Olivia so publicly was perhaps an extreme reaction. While I don't regret my decision, it was an honest expression of my pain and anger at the time. I've learned that it's important to take a step back and think things through before acting on raw emotion. It's a lesson I'll carry with me moving forward, both in my personal life and in business. As I close this chapter of my life, I'm filled with a mix of emotions. There's sadness for what was lost, anger at the betrayal, but also hope and excitement for what lies ahead. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago, and in many ways, I think I'm stronger for having gone through this experience. I've learned a lot about myself, about resilience, and about the importance of surrounding myself with genuine, supportive people. To everyone who has followed my story and offered support, thank you. Your words and advice have been a source of strength during this difficult time. Here's to new beginnings and the adventures that lie ahead. Update 3. It's hard to believe that a year has passed since that fateful night when my world came crashing down. As I sit here reflecting on the past 12 months, I'm struck by how much has changed and how far I've come. The divorce has been finalized for several months now, and I feel like I can finally breathe again. The legal battles and emotional turmoil are behind me, and I'm focusing all my energy on building a new life for myself. My business has continued to flourish. We've expanded into new markets and doubled our client base. The success has been a welcome distraction and a source of pride. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you channel your energy into something positive. I've even started mentoring young entrepreneurs at the local community college, sharing my experiences and helping them navigate the challenges of starting a business. On a personal level, I've made significant strides in my healing journey. The therapy sessions have been invaluable in helping me process my emotions and develop healthier coping mechanisms. I've learned a lot about myself in the process, including recognizing some patterns in my past relationships that may have contributed to my blind trust in Olivia. I'm working on setting better boundaries and communicating more openly. I've also started a new relationship. Her name is Rachel, 29F, and we met through a local hiking group. She's kind, honest, and understands my need to take things slow. We've been dating for about 4 months now, and while I'm still cautious, I'm also excited about the possibility of a future with her. Rachel knows my history and has been incredibly patient as I work through my trust issues. We're taking things one day at a time, and it feels good to be building something based on mutual respect and open communication. As for Olivia, I haven't heard from her in months, and that's exactly how I prefer it. The last update I received was that she had moved again, this time to a different state. Part of me hopes she's learned from her mistakes and is working on becoming a better person, but I've also accepted that her journey is no longer my concern. I've made peace with the fact that I may never understand why she did what she did. The friendship with Mark has continued to grow stronger. We've become workout buddies and often grab beers after our gym sessions. It's been great to have someone who was there from the beginning and understands the whole situation. Mark has been a constant source of support and laughter, reminding me not to take life too seriously. One unexpected outcome of this whole ordeal has been a shift in my priorities and values. I've realized the importance of surrounding myself with genuine, trustworthy people. I've become more discerning in my relationships and more appreciative of the true friends who stood by me during the darkest times. I've also learned to value myself more, to recognize my worth independent of any relationship. Looking back, I can see how much I've grown from this experience. The pain and betrayal I felt a year ago have transformed into valuable life lessons. I've learned the importance of self-respect, the value of honesty, and the strength that comes from facing adversity head-on. To anyone out there going through a similar situation, know that it does get better. The road to healing isn't always straight or easy, but with time, support, and self-reflection, you can come out stronger on the other side. Don't be afraid to lean on your loved ones, seek professional help if needed, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. As I close this chapter of my life for good, I'm filled with gratitude for the lessons learned and excitement for the future. Life has a funny way of leading us where we need to go, even if the path isn't always clear at the time. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Thank you all for following my journey and for your unwavering support. Here's to new beginnings, personal growth, and the beautiful unpredictability of life.